That was in the first quarter. He said this before the game wasn't out of hand. And to me, that lends some credibility to what he's saying, that he's not just out tossing this out on his own, that's the conversation that's being considered. And I think it's a fair conversation. They should consider potentially trading LeBron James.
Yeah, I don't think it was earth-shattering when he said it. It wasn't profound because I think a lot of people have started to come around to that side of thinking. Think about it. If AD was able to command the entire Lakers roster outside of LeBron, basically, what would LeBron command if he were ever tempted or thrown out there as a potential trade candidate? Think about what teams would offer the Lakers in respect, and I think that would really put Magic Johnson in a different place than he's been as the team president. If Magic Johnson is the team president by title, by execution, by how he actually approaches his job, or is he a former player who is working as a team president? It's a big difference because this means you got to do the work, even if it bruises the egos, even if it really damages the ego of your franchise player, who went on record when the youngsters were being trade candidates as saying, it's just a business. Hey, man, don't worry about this. This is just how the game goes. So if LeBron puts himself in that same position, if I'm Magic Johnson, I have to find out. I have to see what that price tag looks like, even if I'm not going to make that purchase.
And here's the thing. I think it does depend on when the lottery balls bounce around where the Lakers finish up. It does depend on where a team like the Knicks finish up. Obviously, everyone wants Zion Williamson right now. But if you're LeBron and let's just say some crazy thing happens and the Lakers win the lottery, do you want a 20-year-old Zion Williamson with a 35-year-old LeBron? And what Jeff was basically describing is you got to look at the timeline. To win, and the Lakers clearly seem about winning championships, you got to get guys in their prime at the same time. LeBron is out of his prime. Zion Williamson is away from his prime. So then you have to have the conversation about maybe you can maneuver that for Anthony Davis, but if you can't, then I think you have to explore the possibilities of maybe saying going younger.
I think that's an approach from the Clippers could have. And they did execute that approach with Blake Griffin. But see, what the problem the Clippers are going to have in free agency is the fact that star players are going to look at them and says, what makes me different? And why won't you trade me in year one of my contract if things don't shake out the way you think they should? And that perception is not going to leave. That's a conversation that they're going to have, whoever they interview, whoever they try and woo, because you wooed Blake Griffin to come back. You wooed him with a jersey in the rafters. We're going to retire here. You've done so much for our organization. You could be here for your entire career, and you trade him in year one. So people are going to have to answer those questions. Boston,
about the Lakers.
No, the Clippers are going to have to answer those questions. And if the Lakers do the same thing, it's going to be a little bit of a stain. Not a huge stain, but a little stain of questions you're going to have to ask if there's any loyalty in your organization.
But KD...
Boston has to answer that same question as well coming up because you had Isaiah Thomas there, and he gave you all he had. He had a career year. He was third in MVP votes. He played hurt for you, and you got rid of him the next year. But
LeBron hasn't done
you
that.
do not. It's a juvenile ideal to be able to do that. You know why? Because you had a rough time. You made a couple mistakes. You didn't put the roster together the way you were supposed to. You internalize that and you do something different and you learn. You just don't give up in year one. You don't go recruit the best player in the game and if it doesn't work out, because the equation is not all I just get the best player in the game, we just automatically win. No, it shows you that it's harder than just getting the best player or getting a top 5 player. You have to put a roster out there that can compete, a roster in line with your stars.
They
you can't just put
gave
anything.
up halfway through the season and wanted to trade half their team when it wasn't working out for AD.
That's not a give up. When you try to trade for AD, you try to take a generational talent and use your assets to get him. It wasn't, we're going to trade y'all for anybody. They said
they
were
wouldn't trade LeBron for anybody either. You got to see what that price tag looks like.
I mean, but what's the 2 lottery picks that you're looking at?
But 2 lottery picks puts you 3 more years away from getting to the playoffs.
I mean, you sometimes...
See, the Clippers can do that and operate under the radar because there are no expectations on the franchise.
One more Clipper shot. One.
No.
If you look at this, this was a 35-win team without LeBron, best player in the league. How many wins they going to get this year?
He did not play. Hey, this is not about LeBron James. Don't get it twisted. It's not about the player. I'm talking about Star X. If you sign Star X in year one and you just abandon him in year one, you have a small stain. What I was saying about the Clippers is the Clippers can operate under the radar. Your fans are not saying we need a championship or we need to go to playoffs now. They don't have that much pressure. They're building a fan base, and they're building what they're going to have is a history of winning. They're trying to build that history.
So
of winning.
you're saying you would never even try and figure out what LeBron would command?
You wouldn't take a call?
You wouldn't even take a call? You wouldn't even find out what that tag looks like?
Because what Jeff Van Gundy wanted said, you could trade him to the Clippers and get cap space. But they've had cap space before, and that's not enough. Cap space is not enough. Guys are not just coming to the Lakers just because we have cap space. You needed one guy to come. Once you got the one, you could build off the one, but if you don't get the one, you're going to have cap space for a long period of time with a whole bunch of young guys.
So we know that, we've heard that Kawhi Leonard, we don't know, we heard Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to play with LeBron.
We know Paul George didn't.
And KD,
he didn't even take the beat.
KD already said, I don't want to go play with LeBron. So by sticking it to the Clippers, won't they want to come to LA and play with the Lakers?
We don't know that Paul George didn't want to play with LeBron.
No, we don't know that.
We know, because
he didn't take a meeting from LA?
As a matter of fact, I know that Paul George thought about playing with LeBron.
Of course he did.
No, and didn't have a problem playing with LeBron, but what Paul George knew inside of his own head is that he could not operate in LA the same way he could operate in a market like Indiana. He understood how he got to be Paul George in Indiana. He had full focus on basketball. LA as a city is tough to be in, and if you know yourself. Like I moved out of the city because I have a family, I have kids. The distraction of the city would have me maybe doing some other things than taking care of my responsibilities. So what I do is I
dance around. There's not a reality that some guys don't want to play with LeBron James. That has to factor in the fact that I want to see what LeBron James can command as well.
Okay, but there's not a star in the NBA that everybody wants to play with. There's not. So that doesn't put LeBron James against Steph Curry. Some guys don't want to play with Steph Curry.
Somebody don't want to play with Kawhi.
Somebody don't want to play with Kawhi. They may not like Kawhi as a person. Somebody might not want to play with
now we're getting
KD.
Hypothetical. I know this.
It's not a lot of hypotheticals. It's not a one-size-fits-all for all stars. People want to play with certain people.
Do you take a call? Do you explore?
That's why I said Magic has to do his job and not just be the former player who knows
if
LeBron.
I'm Magic Johnson, I figure it out with who I signed up with. I don't want the stigma on my organization. I don't want to.
You had 3 number 2 choices.
I don't give
the best player in the
Here's
league,
my
and you're not
point.
figuring it out.
Here's my point, though, Dante. I don't think the stigma is going to be on the Lakers. I think the stigma right now is on LeBron. I think the narrative is he's not all in. And at this point, he's not all in, that he's more about his Hollywood projects. He's more into wine. He's just not all in. And so the stigma, I think, the media narrative is going to be, man, LeBron wasn't all in.
So I respect that point of view. And let's say if that is the narrative, that's what you believe and that's what you think is your answer. Then you go to LeBron James and say, you know what? We need to adjust. You need to adjust as a player, and I need to adjust in forming this roster. We signed up for this, and we adjust accordingly. Okay, if in year 2, if it doesn't work the way you think it does, and LeBron doesn't make the necessary choices and decisions you think should be as the lead of your team, yeah, you have that conversation. But in year 1 of a partnership to try and bring the Lakers organization back, I do not believe
the same organization that got rid of their number 2 overall pick in D'Angelo Russell. They've had 3 number 2s in a row, and they were going to trade the other 2 number 2 overalls. Where's Julius Randle right now? Like this situation right now, they had anxiety before LeBron James came here. Do we blossom with the young core, Golden State Warrior style, or do we just bring in a cherry on top and things gonna be better? They brought in the cherry on top, and things are worse. They probably won't have a better record than last year. They brought the cherry
on top, and they had more injuries as an organization that amongst their core players than anybody in the league.
He's not 28.
No. But let's take that in consideration. People that you count on to play have been hurt all year. Rondo, Lonzo, LeBron for 18 games.
Let me just say.
So key contributors have been hurt.
The Celtics traded away Pierce and Garnett, and they're still reaping the rewards of those trades forever. Jason Tatum, Brown, Kyrie are there because of that trade. Absolutely. You're not making that call? Like, what are you going to give me for LeBron James? And LeBron's going to get old and one day retire, and that pick could be a number 1 pick in the draft. You're not taking that call? You have to take that call.
You cannot put what Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett were doing at that point in time against LeBron James is doing. Like LeBron James,
so he's gonna get more. He's gonna get more.
But that's not the answer to this equation. If you get more assets,
what I'm saying
is you forgot. I forgot. Pau Gasol and Dwight Howard can leave for nothing. Oh, I forgot. Kevin Durant can leave for nothing. You know what? LeBron, just retire if we're better or not.
So what is youth equal? What is youth equal in the NBA? Youth equals a championship.
Hope.
Right? Hope. Still hope. It's only hope. Y'all are saying we're going to trade LeBron James for
spin that
hope.
all you want. It's hope, man. People love young players.
For potential.
Well, you know what?
The
We brought in
potential of being
LeBron
good.
for reality, and now they stuck with hope again. Yeah. They're not better.